For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by The Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Tom, what is your favorite mass-produced cracker on the consumer food market?
I'm Team Triscuit. I love the crunch. It's a little messy, but I just devour those things, and I am a sucker for salt, Kevin, and it is very salty. I love a good Triscuit.
Well, the answer is the Keebler Club cracker. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, week 2, World All-Stars, London, UK. Bombshell of an elimination. I think a really interesting structure to quickfire. I like this episode. In some ways, I thought this was kind of old school episode with sort of, interesting brackets in the top half of the show, a challenge that had both a pitfall, but still sort of within the framework of what Top Chef does. Like, I liked this week's episode.
I really did too. And the quickfire was, I learned a lot of different new ingredients, which is kind of what you want on Top Chef as you watch, not just because of the competition and because of the excitement of the show, but also because it is a little education. You get to walk away with a couple notes about, oyster leaves or kumquats or something about, jackfruit that you didn't know. So this episode was really cool, and I'm really excited. Listeners, we have a guest on the show. Her name is Lorna Maseko from this episode of Top Chef.
Legend in South Africa, an alum, kind of part of the Top Chef diaspora. Really excited to talk to her. Liked her presence at the judges' table. But yeah, Tom, like a lot of interesting thing, like yeast extract, kind of perfect substitute for salt, kind of koji adjacent. Oyster leaves. Who knew oysters had leaves? Let's talk about
what is an oyster leaf. I don't think I followed up on that. Like an oyster leaf, is it like a legit, like a plant leaf? No, it's got to be something. I don't know. I need to be schooled.
It's not part of the oyster, right? Like it is actually a green, but has this lovely shape that I think is sort of makes it look like an oyster. So it is actually not an oyster, but it is a green that is indigenous to the British Isles.
Gotcha. So, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not like that little flap on the scallop when you buy raw scallops. It's not that. That's what I thought it was, and it's not. I did not know oysters have leaves, and they don't. But there's a plant that has oyster-like leaf, which is what we experienced. I really like, Tom, like the kind of the 3 ingredients and then put teams and pods of 5. I like brackets in general, and I like that it was sort of it was 5 mini quick fire challenges, which to me kind of is perfect Top Chef programming because it increased the stakes, right? Like we got to see 5 quick fires within the framework of 1. And so there were more winners, more losers, more middle, it's like it really works. So wanted to get your impressions because, hey, we had our first, didn't get the food on the plate in time,
yep,
which is a big deal. That's always a big deal in Top Chef. It can be a canary in the coal mine. Is this a contestant that does not have time management skills? And in this case, it is quite possibly one of the most talented chef testants on the board right now.
Yeah, it's funny. You're talking about Begonia here, Chef Begonia, who, when I posted on our Instagram, if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at Pack Your Knives. I posted a poll about who is your number 1 pick. And it was almost split 50-50, Kevin, between Buddha and Begonia. She is coming in with the Michelin star. She's coming in with a lot on her resume. And it seemed like right out the gate that she was a favorite to win this whole thing, and stumbles with this quickfire because she forgot, or I guess she didn't forget, she just ran out of time with her tapenade mousse when you thought that this chef was going to be on the fast track to dominance. And we saw a stumbling out of the gate here with time management, which is a red flag, Kevin. I was not happy to see that from my number 2 pick on my team. I had Ali with my first pick in the draft from last week. If you haven't listened, go check that out. But I did love this quick fire, that the whole setup of like, you go choose your ingredient, but you're going to have some curveballs thrown in with these teammates. And, in the past, we might have like team blue, team green, team red to kind of figure out which team is which, but we didn't need that conceit. We're all learning these chef testants from the get-go. So I'm actually, I'm really pleased with how this works. And I thought it was a seamless, a quick fire here with our guest chef, Santiago Lastra. And the little like powwow that they do in the back is nice and dramatic because it felt very like, you don't know what's going to happen. And then they come out and present the winner. So it was, I really like this quick fire, Kevin.
Yeah, just from a food dork standpoint, really fun combinations. And one of the things I still just love about Top Chef is, like, how do they pull this off, right? Like, how are they going to pull this off is still, for me, the item of maximum suspense on the show. So when you throw someone wasabi, capers, and plantains, it's like, well, I mean, what the hell are they going to do with that? And the answer is, in the winning dish in terms of Dale, it was use the plantains as sort of a breading, a plantain fried cod. And then you have, wasabi caper actually kind of does very well together, kind of an olive spice. I mean, it's nice. I mean, same thing with the yeast extract. Yeast extract sounds nasty. But it's a lovely salt substitute and kind of can function as almost a koji. Hibiscus is bright. Kumquat is, it's got some tartness. Boom, you do that. And so I just really love. By the way, Tom, and not to crow, but did you notice that all 5 winners of their quickfire pods were all Team Kevin?
I have it written here at the top. KA swept QF.
I was very, very pleased with this outcome.
As they kept naming them, I was like, wait, I think that's Team Kevin. Oh, no, that's Team Kevin again. Wait, did he just sweep this whole thing? And sure enough, Nicole, Tom, Dale, Mail, and Gabri, they won their pods. And look, I know this was a product placement for Ritz crackers. I love a good Ritz cracker on the charcuterie board or what have you, but you do need a lot of topping on a Ritz cracker because it is a pretty thick, on the drier side cracker. So this lends itself to a nice plate for these dishes and one bite dishes. And so I do think that some of these were actually over topped, like some of them just seemed like it was too big of a bite. And I think Padma had mentioned that at some point, but the real winner here is May, who did the spicy kumquat dish, went yeast extract and the hibiscus. I actually thought that might have been the toughest trio for me, like of the ingredients, Kevin. I thought the easiest might have been the horseradish, guajillo peppers, and the goat cheese. Just thought that had the biggest, broadest menu and more like straightforward. But that also, Kevin, in Top Chef world, that ease of difficulty might actually work to your disadvantage, where the fact that May put together this dish so well with, I think, a difficult menu, actually, played to her advantage.
Yeah, totally. I had that as the highest degree of difficulty, with the easiest being, as you said, horseradish, guajillo, pepper, and goat cheese, which just naturally goes together. I mean, the jackfruit, tamarind, caviar cream kind of threw me off a little bit as well. And that was sort of a tough subject. I just want to run through the 5 winning dishes, and then May, who's all of a sudden for me already becoming a great story. I mentioned her last week as my dark horse, and I'm doubling down on that because I'm just so excited about her performance this week. Dale had his plantain fried cod, wasabi cape aioli. I'm all in on Dale. May, as you said, I mean, coming out with a spicy kumquat jam with hibiscus juice and, again, yeast extract is just essentially kind of a salt additive, but kind of weird to work with as a substance. Tom did well. Tom looks like kind of Mr. Technicality here on this season. He did shrimp cocktail. I loved how he said it my way, with avocado roulade, oyster leaf, and a batarga persilade, which is really smart, right? But batarga is really salty. You kind of, with a persilade, you get the parsley in there, you moderate it. Like, clearly a really smart chef. Gabri is showing us a lot. We'll talk about him later, obviously. He comes in with his Mexican-style jackfruit with a caviar paste and tamarind butter, which was called elegant and sweet and tart. This guy who's throwing water into the pots of competitors last week looks like an abject incompetent. All of a sudden was basically kind of the winner of the week, quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his dishes, he and May, from start to finish, they were wire to wire. Gabri really impressed me. The jackfruit a la Mexicana, a bounce back week for him. I actually picked someone in Last Chance Kitchen who lost the first episode over Gabri in the draft, which is unconventional to say the least, and is biting me in the tuchus, as Kevin would say. And I am just
you need more guttural.
Tuchus. Okay. In the tuchus. Okay. Yes. In the tuchus, Gabri is hitting me where it hurts, Kevin. And I'm not happy about this from a fantasy standpoint, but from a story standpoint, it's always good to have that underdog coming through right out of the gate and saying, that's not who I am. In the episode 1, I deserve to be here. And in this episode, he could have won that first quickfire. And May, what struck me about May is almost that Gregory Gourdet, kind of the, I need a little spice, I need a little salt, I need the acid, and that's what she hit here. Is I think they were blown away by the spiciness of her dish, but also just, you got the hibiscus and the kumquat. It seemed like a very Chef Gregory component right there.
Yeah, we've talked about his capacity to build a dish from kind of component parts, and I think she does. It's a great call, like on the comp. I also want to bring up Nicole, because I mentioned Nicole. I went a little higher on my board than it might have been otherwise thought, just because she had such a dominant run in an all-star season in Canada. And she won her pod with her grilled bavette, goat cheese, horseradish, black garlic jam, salsa matcha. By the way, yum. I mean, clearly somebody else who knows how to kind of present. And actually, and we'll talk a little bit about her main her main dish in the elimination challenge, which I just loved the idea and conceptually of furikake rice with a negitoro. Also, my favorite roll as well. And Lorna had mentioned, who we'll speak to later, that the ratio of rice to protein was a little off, but still, like, I'm feeling really good about Nicole. I mean, one of the things that, just from a competitive standpoint with you, is I am feeling really, really good about my team right now, with one obvious exception, and we'll talk about Dawn and her elimination a little later, and just actually pursuant to what you just said about Chef Gregory, I mean, to me, that was kind of Dawn's lane, and we just haven't seen it this season, and we will talk a little bit more about that. She just has been off her game from the beginning, choosing to do a pastry for a veg-forward dish, choosing to do, making congee from the least congee-friendly rice grain you can imagine. Just really, really, really just kind of on tilt and not doing well. But I really love this. I love this elimination challenge. I love the wacko ingredients. I love that we've got to see 5. I mean, again, just a great way when you have a lot of contestants. Like bravo to the Bravo Top Chef producers, because 15 is a lot. You got to cover a lot of ground, and it can get really tedious. It is hard to construct reality show challenges with too many contestants, right? It gets really tedious. So what do? You basically give us 5 in 1, which is just great value from a viewer standpoint. So again, just a lot of cheers for the staff this week. I mean, I kind of want to, any other impressions in terms of your roster, before we bring Lorna in? I just want to say, like, there aren't a lot of weak links here.
No,
I mean, I've got one. I'm not really big in Sylvia land right now, and she's the only of my kind of roster spots I'm sort of out on, just because I've never really liked I'm from X. We don't do major like carbohydrate that essentially 85% of the world subsists off of, which is what Sylvia pulled this week with she had the rice elimination challenge. We do potatoes in Poland. Come on, don't give me I don't do rice because I'm from Eastern Europe.
For those who are catching up right now, we did a draft last week. Your team, Kevin, is Buddha, Tom, Dale, Nicole, Dawn, Sylvia, May, Gabri. And then on my team, I got Begonia, Ali, Charbel, Luciana, Sarah, Amar, Victoire, and Samuel. And just a heads up, we will be recapping the Last Chance Kitchen every week, but a week behind. So we have not seen the Last Chance Kitchen episode with Dawn, spoiler alert, and Samuel, but we will be talking about that Last Chance Kitchen episode, which we love, the digital episodes that you can find on bravo.com. And with Tom Colicchio, we will be recapping those next week for those who are joining us for the first time. And look, my team right now, I am thrilled with Ali's performance in this episode because, he was a little bit of a social media play for me, Ali coming in as a bona fide star, but he delivered big time, and he won this challenge, the elimination challenge, and we'll talk about that with Lorna. And Begonia, I'm a little concerned that someone from a Michelin star chef might have a difficulty in getting the actual constraints of Top Chef performing at that level. But we know that she's already done well on Top Chef, so that eases my concerns. And Kevin, throughout this first episode, or the first couple episodes here, I am struck by how good they all are. Like the dishes, Tom Colicchio said in the premiere of like, this is perhaps the best season we've ever had for our first episode. Like this episode too, really cashed in. I mean, they are performing at a high level, on the all-star level. And I kept being in awe of their dishes, Kevin. And sometimes we want tension, we want conflict, we want, that struggle. We want to see them falling in the quick fire or spilling a whole pot of water in someone else. We want that drama. But in this one, I actually wasn't feeling that. I wasn't like yearning for more drama. I actually just thought this was a really well done episode, and a really good performance from everyone. In the quick fire, the Begonia mistake was the only one that I could really point to in the quick fire. With 15 dishes, 14 really hit the mark.
Yeah. One thing we do want to discuss before Lorna comes on, because she obviously wasn't behind the scenes in the prep day, is we had another little bit of static in the kitchen where Luciana from Team Tom was boiling her eggs.
Yeah.
And by the way, probably at least in the first 107 minutes of Top Chef Season 20, probably the most affable, Tiggerish, just kind of happy-go-lucky contestant, all of a sudden did not have beast mode. And it turns out, of all people, Dawn and Amar had and again, I'm trying to still figure out what exactly happened, but apparently moved her pots. Now, it might have been that she was using the space to soak I don't know what happened, but it looked like, and they kind of looked guilty. Oh yeah, sorry, didn't know. What, didn't know you moved some other chef's stuff? You kind of know.
Kevin, we had a players only meeting on Team Tom. We had a players only meeting after the show where Amar and Luciana and we talked it out. Okay. The coaches were out of the room. I was not there. I was not present, but I'm glad to see that my players decided to have this, water under the bridge moment. No, I think what happened was Amar did the right thing, which he announced to the group, like, hey, I need these spaces. Whose pots are these? Anyone? Bueller? And no one said anything. Luciana did not say anything. And so I get both sides of this. Is like Amar and Dawn needed that space. They announced it to the world that, hey, heads up, we're going to take these if no one claims them. And then Luciana, I guess, was too busy or wasn't listening. Their language barrier maybe just wasn't paying attention. And she flipped the lid. I get it why she would be upset. But you know what? She moved on and she competed at a high level the rest of the way. Didn't really execute the dishes she wanted from the rice standpoint, which is upsetting as someone who lived in Brazil and ate rice and beans, black beans, every day, three times a day in Sao Paulo. Arroz e feijão was it was I think I was 2/3 arroz e feijão when I was 4 years old in Brazil. And so for her to do a mistake on the rice dish, I'm giving her a little bit of a pass here because of that mishap with Amar. Yeah. But Kevin,
that would be my verdict. Is I need to know more about the conflict. Like if the eggs were boiling, that is a capital crime. If she was just using valuable space for a pot of eggs, and they were just relocated, that is actually not a capital crime, and you're kind of being a chazer if you're using valuable space just to basically station your eggs while you kind of do other stuff.
Does a chazer have a tuchus?
Same consonant. Same.
Okay.
The ch, which is a chet. So
okay.
You are being a chazer if you are using valuable counter space just to kind of park some eggs that are going to be peeled at a later date, right? If two active chefs need the stuff. So now the way you explain it, like I need a little more. One thing that the show could have done a little more is kind of just at least spelled out, because you want to know who's in the right and who's in the wrong, right? Anytime there is friction, and there's less friction on this show than there used to be, you want to know. You kind of want to know. It's like, who's the asshole? Mm-hmm. Is it, you kind of want to know, and we don't fully know. And maybe later in the season we'll get one of these players in our conversation, and we can ask them. But it didn't, as you said, didn't seem like a major blow up, though she did for a few short minutes definitely go into beast mode.
So you got 20 points this week, and we will talk to Lorna here in a second. You had 20 points this week from, of course, a really good showing from May, finishing in the top 3 in the elimination challenge and winning the quickfire challenge. But I also had 20 points, and we will have a tiebreaker with the Last Chance Kitchen, Dawn versus my chef, Samuel. But of course, Ali coming out with an elimination challenge victory, and Luciana coming in with 0 points. For those who are scoring at home, it is 10 for a elimination challenge win, 5 for a top 3 finish. If you're in the middle, neither the top or the bottom, Goldilocks style, you are 2 points. Bottom 3, you get 0 points. And if you're eliminated, -5. At the quickfire, we also allocate some points. The winner of quickfire gets 3, and the top 3 finisher, or in this case, there was a top 5, each get 1 point. So it comes out to 20 versus 20. And Kevin, I'm excited because last year I got blown out in the opening gates of the season, and here we have a head-to-head matchup that you have a really strong roster, but I am right there with you.
Yeah, and actually, to speak of the quality of the competition, to me, the bellwether's Buddha, right? Here's Buddha coming off as a defending and champion. He's my number 1 pick. I mean, I think we all have recognized his brilliance. And he has not misexecuted anything. He has not made any mistakes in judgment, in preparation, in presentation. And he's just bumping along, middle of the pack, right? Like, executes what is apparently just a delicious, succulent Hainanese chicken rice. One of my favorite dishes. I love Singapore-style Hainanese chicken rice. Gets a middle. Does his thing in the quick fire. Doesn't win his pod, right? Like to me, Buddha's an interesting bellwether in a guy that it's not like, oh, he's not up to his game. No, Buddha's being what Buddha is. One of the best chefs in the competition. And oh, by the way, he's not really winning anything yet. Now it's early, obviously, but I think that's not intended as a critique of Buddha. It's intended as an expression of confidence in the field overall. That like you can do great stuff. I mean, the number of really great dishes, and we'll talk about this with Lorna in just a second, in that elimination challenge that didn't make the top 3, right? Like it seemed like the median dish was really, really good, Tom. The 7th best dish last night was particularly good. And that's sort of it was blowing me away, is just that, the Dales of the world, the congee, no top 3 finish. And that to me is quite a statement on the quality of the competition.
That's what you want to see with Top Chef All-Stars, right? World All-Stars. This is the Olympics of Top Chef. So I'm excited to bring on Lorna. Let's not wait any further. Without further ado, Lorna Maseko from South Africa. Let's go. I am super excited to welcome in our first guest of this Pack Your Knives season, Top Chef 20 World All-Stars, the host of Top Chef South Africa, also a former professional ballerina. There's such a cool story of this, also guest judge of this second episode this season, Lorna Maseko. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So you are watching this episode. You obviously, I mean, this has got to be what up on the Mount Olympus of culinary experiences for you is guest hosting, being the guest judge on Top Chef. How cool was that?
That was pretty insane. I think it was a complete kind of 360 moment because obviously having been the host of Top Chef South Africa and then being asked to be, a guest judge on this season was pretty amazing. It kind of like feels like you just came to should I say grandparents, but the coolest grandparents. You know what I mean? Like you started off with your parents and then like you're just like with the iconic like team. So that was amazing to meet Gail and Padma and the rest of the judges. It was really, really, amazing.
It is an enormous extended family now. Just kind of watching Top Chef over the last 20 years. And what's very cool about it is truly global.
Yeah.
The fact there are essentially top chef correspondents in Johannesburg and in London and in Bangkok and Singapore. It's just it is probably the most wide ranging diaspora in television. Not just like television competition, like television period. Like CNN does not have that many correspondents.
I think that's what makes it exciting. And that's what is so beautiful about food is that it's able to connect us from different parts of the world. And there's a synergy that we'd like to put in our mouths and enjoy. And so to have this insane kind of brand called Top Chef kind of have a presence in each part of the world just says a phenomenal thing about food and how food is able to connect us. And then they just kind of like flipped it over and included everyone else, which is just phenomenal.
So Lorna, let's go straight behind the scenes. You're on a plane, you're going to London. Do you know what you're going for or what the challenge is? Like, take us through your experience on doing a guest judge on Top Chef.
So I definitely didn't know what the challenges were. I wasn't sure who the contestants were. Let's track back a little bit. So got onto the plane. It's a long way to London, but it's not as long as coming to the US. I could tell you that. So I'm kind of getting used to the London stretch, but the US one I'm kind of getting used to. And then got to set, got my makeup done, and then you kind of see who the contestants are. And obviously, because we don't get to see all of Top Chef from around the world, you kind of know some, not know them, but you recognize faces. Let me rather say that. You recognize faces, and then you get given kind of like, this is what they're going to do today. So these are the things, not even these are the things we're looking for, but good luck and have fun. And so you go on and it's lights, camera, action. And as they say, the rest is history.
In terms of this particular challenge, right? Like, so it could be anything you get rice. We will have a conversation in a few minutes about your jollof rice and the wonders of Shito and red palm oil in a second. I'm going to set that aside. I was actually just mentioning this to Tom is I thought, you have to declare a top three. You have to declare a bottom three. I mean, what was amazing about this particular episode, and I just kind of want to hear kind of your do's and don'ts of judging, especially since you're in the company of kind of the show regulars who, have really strong opinions, is it seemed like there were 8 or 9 dishes that could have conceivably been a top 3 dish. Like the fact that Dale's congee you guys loved, but hey, didn't make the top 3. That's cool. I mean, there were so many dishes. People seem to like, Tom's Sri Lankan lamb biryani. I'm a huge Hainanese chicken rice Singapore style fan, and his chicken was succulent, but didn't make the top 3. Like, I'm just curious. And also begonias, I want to ask you about begonias, lemon rice, beets, pickled ginger, and seaweed. I know it was like 5 months ago, so you don't remember the bite, but it was just like, how do you how do you kind of cull the menu? First of all, how do you eat 15 dishes and not intuitively feel like the 14th dish you're just too full to enjoy is the first question.
I think because you're working with some of the 20 top chefs from around the world, each bite is unique and very different to their personalities, to their history, to their cultures, which made it absolutely different, and every bite just excited your palate in a different way. And so for me, I always say, like, I love to eat Michelin, but I don't cook Michelin food, but I love that excitement of my palate experiencing different things. And so to have been able to experience rice or congee in 20 different ways, with 20 different personalities and characters, include heritage, include culture, include background, was just absolutely amazing. And I think that's what makes this season super special, because I don't think you'll get it in any other way. I don't know what they have planned for season 21. Hopefully, I'm sure they've got something even more exciting. But I think that's what made this season so unique, is that's why each bite, and it was 20 different bowls that we tasted, and they were all delicious and unique in their own simple way. But I think that the exciting part, where you don't get bored, you're like, oh, this is from Sri Lanka. Oh, this has like an Asian twist. Oh, this chef is from Italy, so they've added their flavor to it, which I don't think you would traditionally get usually. And so I think that's what made it like super insane and super amazing.
What was your first moment where you realize, oh, this isn't Top Chef South Africa? This is different. This is either format of the show or the style. But what moment did it hit you like, oh, this is a little bit different? This is exciting.
When Padma was like, Lorna Maseko from Top Chef South Africa, I was like, God damn, okay. We're no longer on the African continent. We're in London, kids. And I guess it's a little bit different. I mean, in terms of like the cameras, there's a whole lot. It's a bigger crew. It's a bigger beast, and it's a beast I really enjoyed kind of playing with. It was fun.
What was among, and again, allowing for the fact that this taped months ago, what was your favorite? All right, and if you're at liberty to say, and it's like we're not allowed to go too far behind the curtain, but like, what was your winning dish of the 15? Like, what was your vote? I'll tell
you now. It was. I'm looking at the.
Oh, she's got notes here.
Oh, you've got your notes. This is great. No, it's not notes.
I'm looking at faces, and I'm online, so I'm trying to figure out.
Hey, you did say that Sarah had a banger of a dish, and she didn't even finish in the top 3, but she's on my team. I drafted Sarah with the everything bagel, basically.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, the lox bagel take with the
I love
everything
that.
Rice
and then
crispy.
I love that Arabic. It was, I think he's from Morocco, but North Africa. Top chef.
Yeah.
Ali won.
You said you knocked it out of the park, which I think is a baseball metaphor, but I don't know. In South Africa, knock it out of the park. Is that
we say knock it out the park. We say knock it out the park as well. It was. You just mentioned his name. He did it was kind of like a very. I think he's from North Africa. Top chef.
Moroccan dish. It was the lamb uzi, maybe from Chef Ali.
Oh my!
The smoked rice. It was
actually
used charcoal.
That was insane. And
which one?
Mind you, that was, I think we ate that like after eating like about 15 of those. So for something like that to stand out at that point when you're just feeling like I've had a lot of congee today was just phenomenal. It just hit every sensory bit of palate in my mouth. It was just absolutely incredible. Like, it was smoky, it was sweet, it was umami, it was crunchy. I think he had lamb in the dish. I could be wrong, but I think it was, and I'm a huge lover of lamb. South Africans love lamb. So the way he balanced everything together, and it had some yogurt as well, which gave it that creaminess. It was gorgeous. I loved it. It's funny because you're like, Kevin's like, I don't know if you'll even remember that bite, but that bite I remember. And it was like months ago. So that bite was definitely amazing.
Well, so what is the deliberation like when after the 15 dishes are served and the judges go back to the proverbial chambers? It's Gail and Tom and you and obviously Padma. Like how do they come up with process is actually kind of fun. It's the part we see snippets of the conversation, but we don't actually see the conversation. Like, what is that process? Like, I can't imagine it's contentious. These people have been doing it for 20 years, but I do imagine strong opinions can, food is one of those things. It is quite subjective in many ways. And I'm just curious how all the opinions are aggregated and determined.
Well, I think like everybody has an opinion, which is important, and has the opinions are respected. And so I think from that perspective, you definitely know that it's credible to whoever else is listening. But I think, Tom has a great opinion about how, and the thing is, food is subjective. How I grew up and what I ate is definitely going to govern how I taste something. We could both go to a Michelin star restaurant or have 20 little bowls of congee and have 20 different opinions, right? And I think, when you put us all together and everyone there were certain dishes that you felt like, okay, we all knew, okay, this was really a great dish. It was synonymous. Like everyone kind of had the same opinion about that dish. And then there were some dishes where someone would go, oh, well, I did think it was XYZ, but I actually enjoyed this about the dish. And then you took another bite and you're like, okay, I never really picked that up, but okay, cool. I think the process is authentic. And so you have great minds. I don't want to say thinking alike because everyone's opinionated in a different way, but that adds to just the credibility of what you're hearing about each dish.
You said that Gabri's dish, which was the 54 ingredient mole, that it was an incredible dish, a high level of difficulty. He pulled it off, and he really struggled in the first episode of Top Chef, Lorna. But on this one, he just did a great job, and you described it as a hug in a bowl. As someone who might not have grown up with Mexican flavors like that, what was that dish like for you? And it didn't seem like the most texturally interesting dish, but it seemed like the flavors just really popped.
He put a lot into that dish. I think, I don't even know, I stopped counting at how many kind of ingredients he put in there. But 54. He found oh my goodness, no wonder.
It's a kind of a funny thing.
I think the station was a miss as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, mole's funny in living here in Los Angeles. Like the number of things in a mole is a big ththing for a Mexican chef and particularly Oaxacan chefs, right? Like it's like 38. No, I got 54. I got 117. Right? They're very into it. It's the sheer amalgamation of like all of those substances that makes the depth of the mole. So like they get very, and it's like there's no other food in the world where I know that where chefs are more into the counting the number of things in it, right? And I actually thought he was screwed. Like I'm watching him in the Whole Foods.
Risotto.
I'm like this is risotto with 54 ingredients. You need 17 days to do mole. You need 54 things. Like you're not gonna have enough money. You're not gonna have enough time. I thought he was an idiot for doing it. Just like watching him as a fan, and then obviously he pulls it off beautifully. And look, there's nothing better than like deep mole negro from Oaxaca, but like it was just that's kind of the funny thing about mole is just like the obsession on the number of items. There's no other dish in the world like that.
And you know what? And he found such a beautiful way of finessing that dish and making it beautiful, because sometimes you can use 100 and whatever ingredients and you literally have just, it's a mess, basically, yes. Because you're just trying to overpower so many things. But I think that just makes him quite unique and quite special, that he's able to take that many ingredients and balance them so well. And it still is the perfect bite in your mouth. And you don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel that it was too bitter or too sweet or too salty. It just holistically comes together in a glorious way.
One of the really cool things about being a guest judge on Top Chef is, you get to kind of go into the kitchen and watch them prepare with Tom. And so you're going in with Tom, who's terrifying for chefs to have to cook while answering questions from Tom. And he has this poker face of like, oh, interesting decision. What was your approach to going into the kitchen and meeting the chefs and seeing what they're cooking? And do you remember anything specifically about Tom, being alongside him as he's asking these questions?
I think it's like you've hit it on the nail, just because they're trying to get things done as quickly as possible. It's a television show, so you need to speak and say something. His rapport is incredible. And so they were frantic, and I think they captured that really well on camera. Like it's not easy just because and you're dealing with time, right? And time's not waiting for nobody. And so you're trying to rush this dish and make it absolutely amazing, sexy, delicious, hit all those notes. You're trying to be entertaining. I guess you're putting on a show, not putting on a show, but you need to answer questions that Tom has. He's super calm. He may see you completely messing up, so he can't even say like, I don't think this is gonna work, but he may hint. And then because I think chefs are really analytical and they live in their heads quite a bit, he could just say one thing that could throw you off completely. And then you're starting to think like, oh, maybe I should change the dish. Is it really going to work? That's just put me off, So there's a lot going on. And then you have something I don't know, 10 cameras on you at the same time. It's a lot. Okay. It's a lot.
Were you cheering them on? Was Tom being kind of the good cop, bad cop? And you were like, oh, I really love that idea. Or were you also like, oh, interesting choice there?
I had some interesting choice moments, but I think part of just being like, oh my God, I'm on Top Chef 20 and oh my gosh, judge the food. Okay, look at what they're doing. I think it was a mix of different things for me, but excitement nonetheless. And, to see these chefs just really give it their heart and soul and just put everything on the table is just always just so humbling to think someone would be able to do that in a competition of this caliber. So yeah.
Because when Gabri goes and decides to do a 54 ingredient risotto, in that moment, you're probably hearing him being like, oh, good luck with that. And then he pulls it all together. And so that journey of seeing him preparing it and then it comes out on the plate, that must be really enriching. But Kevin, there's a lot of dishes we got to get through here.
Yeah, I mean, Lorna, I don't know how many you remember specifically. I was sort of, I have a huge crush on Bogonia's palette and preparation and everything. And I saw that lemon rice with beets and pickled ginger. I think Tom said something along the lines that it was from outer space. And I love those kinds of dishes. I don't know if that you remember that, but I kind of really sort of have already come to love her cuisine. I'm just curious what you thought of that dish. It did not make the top 3, but I just thought it looked fantastic. And I love beets too. So
I love beets. The lemon flavor was incredible. I think just balance, right? That's what you want from a good dish. Just a balanced dish that hits you at every part of your palate. And if you can get that with one bite, you're pretty much a happy camper.
Had you met Padma, Tom, or Begonia or any of the chef assistants before? So
Not at all. It was my first time. So it was pretty cool to kind of meet the big Top Chef family.
Yeah, because I'd imagine you might have a scouting report in your head of oh, I think I know that face. Chef Begonia coming in here with a Michelin star already to her name and winning or being a finalist in her Top Chef competition. So I guess you aren't starstruck too much by the chefs presenting their food. In the case of Begonia, I feel like she does have a little bit of a background coming in there. And that dish, Kevin, you're right. When it was presented, I was like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to land. And then the chefs just absolutely loved it. The judges table loved her dish, and it didn't even finish in the top 3. And then we got to talk about May's dish. May came in with a dessert, Kevin, which is kind of what you do with immunity. I don't know if you knew that at the time, Lorna, but she had won with immunity. She won the quick fire. And so if it flops, it flops. If she wins, great. And it did land. This one, the dessert with the Thai rice pudding. It is, it is one of those dishes that it was a high risk, high reward move.
That was a really, really good dish. I was surprised. I'd never had anything like that before. And it wasn't too sweet, right? I don't have a massive sweet tooth. And so I like my desserts a little savory with a slight saltiness to them. I just, don't take up the sugar too much for me. And it was really, really incredible. And I love the whole idea of her mom and what an impact her mom has had. That was so emotional. When you're just trying to keep the lashes on. Don't cry too much, sis.
I have that problem too. Yeah. Yep.
But that was really, really touching. And I think for me, that says a lot about food. It's such an emotional thing. It's such a heart thing. And to be able to then cook and put your heart on the sleeve and you kind of hope people like it, right? And it's also personal, right? And you kind of feel touched when someone is like, oh, even if you were making scrambled eggs and someone was like, I didn't like that. Or I have a daughter who, like, if she doesn't like something that I've cooked, you just feel so like, excuse me, there are people who eat my food and they like it, And so to put your heart on the sleeve and it actually becomes something really good and it touches people and people are moved by it, it just makes it so special.
I do want to get you on some other fun stuff. I saw on your Instagram, you recently had an event with Bill Clinton, who I think is actually a fascinating food figure because, and I don't know how much you know about his history, but like when he was first kind of running as a national candidate in the US, like he was known, and I don't think I'm being uncharitable here, as a glutton. Like he was a guy obsessed with fast food, drive through he wanted to go to every barbecue on the political circuit, fried catfish. Like he was notorious overeater and had like heart issues and whatever else. The dude goes vegan several years ago, and I don't know, like, and apparently he still is. And actually, I mean, you can see he's a fraction of the weight he was at his heaviest. But I'm just curious, like, wait, what was the occasion? The guy is notoriously affable, like in terms of just making he meets you and 3 minutes later, he's your best friend. And I'm just curious, like in terms of both the food component and just sort of the cult of personality component, like what were your impressions of Bubba Clinton?
Exactly what you just said, Kevin. He was like, I come to South Africa a lot. He was telling me about Nelson Mandela. It felt like I was meeting like a friend that and it sounds wild to say this about a president, right? It felt like I was meeting someone who'd known my entire life story by just knowing bits about my country. And I think that says a lot about him as a person, that he's able to interact with you for like 2 minutes and it feels like you've had a conversation for 20, and he knows so much about South Africa, about Desmond Tutu and the struggle that South Africa has gone through apartheid. And, he just made me feel really, really comfortable, which was super cool.
Did you eat with him?
No,
there was no food. Come on. By the way, what is your favorite food city in Africa out? And let's throw Johannesburg off to the side because that's its own thing. Like, what is your favorite food city?
In South Africa?
In all of Africa.
In all of Africa? Oh, man. Okay, so Cape Town has an incredible food scene.
I had one of my best meals ever, and I think it closed at the Greenhouse. It was Chef Farrell Hirsch.
Oh my gosh.
I loved that meal at Cape Town. It's also a beautiful setting, but I think it closed. Did Farrell Hirsch close Greenhouse?
I think it did close, but I think he's planning to open another one, if I'm not mistaken.
Loved that food.
Cape Town has an incredible food scene, like in the winelands, but even just nooks and crannies and the street food. And if you go to Bo-Kaap, you have Cape Malay food, and then you go to the wineland, it's like really Michelin and just incredible, and the scenery is out of this world, and then you're paying a fraction of the price.
That was always the great thing about eating in South Africa, and it was just like the bill comes and it's like, oh, this is affordable, do you spend any? Have you done much eating in Lagos?
Lagos, I have. I love a good. I think the best jollof rice is definitely like in Lagos. One country I definitely love to go to is Morocco. I would love to just dive into Morocco and just eat as much as I can and have tagine and just explore and just have like a really good time. But I think the African food culture is just growing. It's insane. I mean, there's this. I just can't remember his name, and I follow him on Instagram, so apologies. But
I'm guessing Eric Ajapong, my guy.
No.
Yeah. Sorry,
Eric, former Top Chef, friend of the program. He's on a rocket ship with this cuisine.
He's a Ghanaian American.
Yeah, he's Ghanaian. Yes. I know Eric. But there's another chef in Rwanda. I mean, like, you wouldn't think in Rwanda there was a chef who was doing some incredible things, but like, I'm like, you could do the gorilla trail and then go and have like some incredible food. And so like I think the food on the continent is really just like on the up. And I think what I love about it is that there's such an interest about it as well, right? People are just intrigued. I mean, French food, Italian food. And so like this vibrant, Mexican food, this vibrant bubbling of African culture, food, heritage is just on the up. And I'm so lucky to be living in the present like moment where people are just wanting to know more about the continent.
I mean, I have a proposal, and it's for the elves people and the Top Chef people, which is you need to host Top Chef like Africa All Stars. Where because the air thing because it's and again I'm just like it's a continent I just kind of spend a lot of time in, and it's like Ethiopia in and of itself as just is its own insane food scene. Like I got a chance I was hanging out in Kenya last summer, and like I was making chapati in a village kitchen, which actually is a kind of there's this wonderful Indian influence in the cuisine of Kenya. Obviously, Lagos, I'm with you. Like I went to Yellow Chili for jollof rice 2 or 3 times. There's a wonderful Senegalese chef in Lagos named Pierre. Is it Tiam?
I don't know.
He has a place called Nook. Like you have obviously
even Nigeria. Michael, I think it's a Legbe. He's doing some incredible food out of Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
Just like there's numbers of chefs in the.
There's actually my favorite meal in Lagos was actually this Cameroon lady who started a pop-up in Lekki where she just does Cameroon style croquer, and you have to go and knock on her door, and she just brings it out of her kitchen, and then you take it back to your hotel.
I love it.
It's like what you said.
Have you had suya?
No.
It's like the kebab, and then it's got lots of spices, and it's street food.
Yes.
And it's like it's absolutely incredible. It's
I did about 6 bowls of bitter leaf stew in 5 days.
Nice.
That's my jam. That and egusi and the egusi.
Oh, I love that. And pepper soup.
Yeah, I have spice issues, so I have to be a little careful. But
right.
Eastern European stomach, but it is. But I just would love to see you host you could. I mean, it's just there's so much. There's so much global influence. There's so many kind of. In terms of culinary autonomous regions like Ethiopia, which are kind of very distinct, but then you have the East Africa, you have the Arabian influence, you have North Africa, obviously it's its own game, including French influence coming there. It would just be such a great, it is my favorite continent to eat in right now. And but I just would
You're
I
hired,
would love to see
Lorna. Kevin just hired you to host Top Chef Africa. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited about it.
Lorna, so you recently, judging from your Instagram, you spent some time with Gail at her house in Brooklyn. First of all, can you tell people where they could follow you and get more of that content?
I thought you were going to say, can you tell people exactly where she lives? So which is a really bad idea.
That is not what we were going to say, but I think we do want to hear a little bit about Gail off the camera on Top Chef and what that was like and where they can find all the cool stuff that you're doing.
Right. So you can follow me on Instagram, which is Lorna Maseko, LORNAMASEKO, or on Twitter, which is @Lorns, LORNS_Maseko, same as my Instagram page. Gail is incredible. Gail has actually lived in South Africa for quite some time. So it was wild. Gail feels like my sister, and so to go to her home and make a very South African dessert, which is something that I grew up eating. She grew up eating. I felt like a 360 moment. It was absolutely incredible. She is just the coolest, most humble, most loving person I have ever met. What you see is 10 times more in real life. So welcoming, has an incredible kitchen, might I add, proper cute, proper girly, love it. And she's just amazing. I love Gail.
We do too. We love Gail, and we love having you on the show today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know you're busy, but enjoy your time in the United States.
Thank you.
We can't wait to watch what you do next. That was an awesome episode of Top Chef. And I'm just sitting there just with popcorn listening to you and Kevin wax poetic about African cuisine. So I can't wait to see and eat more of that food.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for coming.
Listener, listen up. This is important. Okay, I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees. No BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast Gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast Gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Oh yeah, she is a delight. That was wonderful. We packed in a lot of information. We had like a 30-minute window with her, and we got through so much. But you know what? This is Top Chef World All-Stars. Even though we did a lot with Lorna, there's still much to discuss here. So Kevin, sorry to see Dawn get eliminated here.
Yeah, it's been a really rough season for Dawn, even in 2 episodes. And it wasn't strictly just she was the victim of the Gabri water attack of 2022 in her kind of initial elimination challenge, but ended up on the bottom, and not because of that, but because, I think error in judgment featuring pastry for a vegetable forward dish, and then kind of comes out, on the quickfire, finishes in the middle. Not entirely sure the quality of her bite, but certainly didn't win. And then made the decision to go with congee, which kind of, I think the error there is, and far be it from me to tell an expert on global cuisine, but black rice tends to be nuttier. It tends to be starchier. It tends to be grainier. I think there's a reason that when you have congee at Cantonese style places, that it is often that very creamy white, I think relatively short grained. And again, I welcome people who know much more about rice and congee to clarify. But I think there's a reason you don't see a lot of black congee is it doesn't lend itself to that sort of texture. It takes forever to cook black rice.
Kevin.
And for exactly a chef with time management issues, probably not the best call. It's interesting because I do think congee is a great choice for a rice forward dish. And Dale certainly chose it and did short rib and pickled mushrooms. They seemed to like it a lot. He did not place in the top 3. But Dawn really just had trouble. And as a result is the second contestant eliminated. I drafted her, I would say with moderate expectations. Again, time management issues known, but boy, it came for her early, Tom, this season.
Yeah, she didn't hit her stride. That is a track and field analogy there, because she is an Olympian in track and field, and she has had times where you're just questioning the decisions that she's making. Look, this is someone who has chronic time management issues in this competition. We saw it last year, and she got it together, but she has readily acknowledged that this is a weak spot for her. This is like knowing if you are getting a last second shot and Joel Embiid can bludgeon you into the paint, and his weakness is shooting a mid-range jumper or a 3-point shot at the top of the key or in the corner, and you draw up a play for that weakness, and Joel Embiid is in the corner firing up an off-balance 3-pointer. Like, we know that she has top time management issues. She still made a choice to do the black rice and the congee, which seems like it would take a lot of time. She has time management issues. It seemed like she was setting herself up to fail or putting the bar way too high for herself. And I just felt bad watching it, because we know that the redemption story that she had last season, and here with Gabri and the mistake from last episode, she had a great opportunity to turn things around, and she continued to make the same mistakes as she did in the past. And it just wasn't her dish. I actually saw, going into this final judges table, I had written in my notes, Dawn's gone. Like, even before they named who the bottom 3 were. And by the way, just as a quick interlude here, I really like the little switch they did in this episode where they brought out 6 chefs instead of bringing out the top 3 and then going back for the bottom 3. I liked having that little guessing game of Padma reading off 6 names, and then we have to decide as the audience, Dawn is in there. Okay, Luciana, is she going to be in the bottom 3? Oh, she's going to be in the bottom 3. And you kind of have this little game in your head where you get to kind of parse them out into their two camps and you have the top 3 and the bottom 3 out there. I actually really like that little twist. Even though you kind of can figure out who's in the top and bottom 3, I like that instead of bringing out, it's kind of, it loses that dramatic tension of like the first group that they bring out, you can't hold that over them, that you might be in the bottom, you might be eliminated. In the past seasons, if you were invited out first, you knew you had won. In this season, it seems like they bring out 6, and so there's still a little bit of a question of who's in the top and who's in the bottom.
Yeah, sort of the orchestration of kind of the eliminated and the winners is always sort of I would say a struggle, but it's something that needs to be choreographed. It's like the famous chorus line at the very end where Michael, the choreographer, I think that's his name, it's like, all right, the following people take a step forward. Yeah. Everyone on the back line, you're in the show, right? Like there is that sort of, well, which group are you in, right? And the truth is that the sort of the trope of the show is that obviously they announce the eliminated last, so they'd always do winners first. Now, I mean, you could switch that up, but what I liked about it is, I mean, at that point, we all knew who was bottom and top because we'd heard their comments about the dishes. But it was interesting to watch the chefs themselves kind of look around, saying, "Oh, okay, I'm being called. Is it for bottom and top?" So that I totally agree with. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be so tough unless they're willing to sort of flip it week to week, where and I suppose they could edit it and adjust where the viewers, we all see the eliminated last. Because I think just in terms of production, ultimately, it maybe says something about human nature. We're always far more interested in who's getting eliminated than who won. It's in terms of a week to week, except at the very end, obviously.
So it wasn't a surprise to you that Dawn was going home. I mean, Sylvia and Luciana both had not strong dishes for different reasons. Luciana was just a bland overcooked / undercooked at the same time, which I didn't know was possible. Really disappointing dish for her because I think as she said, at the very top of this elimination challenge, like rice in Brazil is an absolute staple. And It was disappointing to see that. But Sylvia, with the vanilla salt choice to put that over the top, I know that Dawn, I thought Dawn was going home, but I think Sylvia was not too far behind.
Yeah, and that's such a weird choice. And by the way, that was sort of a depressing looking dish too. Like it was just like, white rice off to the side, your curry, which is sort of, there's just no innovation. I have a roster of players. Obviously, this is the only one I'm just like intensely unexcited about. But to speak to my earlier point also about just the quality of the competition, one of the interesting is when you look at those 3 bottom dishes, the judges specifically said that all 3 of the protein components were decent. Like Sylvia's curry was fine. Like, someone said I loved her stew, and Dawn's oxtails were perfectly prepped, and Luciana's fish, wonderfully done, right? Like, it's not like they're turning out tragic clunkers. But I do think it's fair to say that if you're going to the pressure cooker on morning 2 for your congee, you've lost. Like, you've lost. And again, it bemuses me how somebody who is well aware of their weakness would specifically choose dishes that are intended, essentially almost designed to highlight those weaknesses. Wow, let's take the grain of rice that takes the longest to cook and try to do a dish out of that. Oh, when you are the time management person, problem, right? Like that to me is it's a little confusing. There were so many interesting dishes that I loved. I'm a huge, as I mentioned, Hainanese chicken rice. I order it here from this joint up in East Pasadena anytime I can. St. Gabriel Valley, there are a couple great places. I love Dale's, the look of Dale's congee with the short rib, pickled mushrooms, chili oil. I'd eat that all day. I love Nicole's. I know, like furikake rice with negutoro is great. I know the ratio is off. And still, to me, the dish I would have ordered, though, is begonias. Like lemon rice, beets, pickled ginger, seaweed. Looks like something from outer space. I love it. I also love a non-sweet dessert like a Thai rice pudding with watermelon puffed rice. By the way, that shows a lot, Tom. That's some sophisticated work there. Is let's do a second rice component, watermelon puffed rice, to give it texture. I mean, Tom, May, redraft. Where are you taking May, man?
Man, May's going top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
And I loved her story, the story of coming out to her mom when she was 13 and her mom being, such a supporter of her, and just the idea of I don't know. It's just it seems like an underdog story for her. And sure enough, we didn't draft her very high in our draft, and she's delivering. And there is something to I think there is like a strong history of Thai chefs on this program doing very well in the competition because of all those acid, savory dishes that has a really wide range of applicability here on this show. So I think this is a really cool story of May doing a rice pudding. I think when you talk about risk, you want to do that when you have immunity. I mean, you want to try something different. And so that was really cool. And we didn't talk about this earlier, but I really thought Gabri's dish, when he goes to the Whole Foods, and he has the little crisis, and he asks May, hey, do you mind if I kind of dump my extra stuff onto your bill? Was, I thought, a very savvy move. I thought it was maybe some people would call it cheating, is that he basically asks, I'll owe you later. This is an IOU. I am in debt to you, May, now because you've basically given me your cap space here. But he sought out the person who has immunity. Right. And so that is, to me, levels to Gabri's just mentality, his approach, that he is maybe the most high value pick on the board.
Yeah. No, it was smart. And by the way, and normally I have been preaching the last few seasons that I'd like to see a little more kind of go for the jugular competition strategy. But that's a case where I think May does the right thing because now she's got a chit, right? Like she's got a chit. Ain't no one going to be moving her pot. Right. And least of all, he's not going to be dumping water in her thing. Now, that said, I will say this about Gabri as my contestant and as clearly showing a lot this week is I do think that there are still a red flag. Right. Like you had to count on the kindness of a competitor to basically like what happens if we're down to 5 people. He has the genius idea to buy. The
elbows start coming out, right? The sharp elbows.
And like what happens if someone says no, or there's not enough or that I can only cover a few of your things, right? Like it does still on a budget like that to choose to do a mole this early is still, you could argue a little bit of a red flag. It was a risk clearly that was worth taking. I mean, he finished, I think it's fair to say, second or third. But yeah, from May's standpoint, I love it as a move. Like it doesn't cost you anything, right? Except that now you have a chit. Like now, you end up in restaurant wars with this person and it gets a little chippy. You have a little leverage, I think. And so I kind of like team competition. There's something you want to, whatever it might be. And so for May, it's great. Costs her nothing. By the way, I mean, I do feel like we buried the lead a little bit with Ali because I thought it was very interesting with Ali and Charbel. They both make very similar dishes, right? They both make a Middle Eastern rice dish with nuts, a cucumber mint yogurt sort of component. They are very similar dishes. The idea of Ali to go to charcoal is such a baller move. And it was such a sophisticated move. I mean, getting smoke in a rice dish, especially when you think of how just bland some of the losing dishes were. I mean, what was the knock on Luciana? Like, it was just sitting there, right? I mean, white rice, even, my Bo Buddha, right? Like, hey, I love Hanani's chicken rice. Everybody loves it. It's a global classic. The rice ain't doing a lot in that dish. I mean, yeah, it has to be beautifully soaked and yes, cooking rice and getting that fluffiness is key. But to add smoke as a component in a rice dish with lamb is just so smart. Like, he's a force to be reckoned with, Tom. You want to talk about like redraft? What position did you take him in? Remind me.
I got him. He was my first pick.
Right. He was.
So you picked Buddha. I went with Ali. I couldn't quite pinpoint exactly what I like, so I defaulted to the fact that
the social media following,
a gajillion followers, and he was a superstar coming into the competition. But the fact that, Kevin, it's not just that he smoked his dish; it's that he had to do a makeshift smoker. The MacGyver aspect of that.
Yes.
We talk about like what you need to do on Top Chef to succeed. A lot of that is you have to kind of improvise on the fly. And he's doing this smoker with charcoal and tinfoil with the dish. I wasn't quite understanding the mechanics of it. I don't need to know because he's on my team and he's winning. And that was awesome. And they were wowed by his rudimentary, just out of nowhere, creating a smoker at the table. So I thought this was an awesome performance from Ali, and justifying my high pick. He's got 10 points this week. Charbel in the middle. Same with Begonia here, even though she had an outstanding dish. Sarah with the everything bagel dish. It seemed like she had a very strong dish in the eyes of Lorna, and I thought, everyone else in the middle had good dishes that on any other occasion might have been on the edge of being in the top 3. But yeah, it did seem to me that there was a clear demarcation of Dawn, Luciana, and Sylvia with their bottom 3 dishes. And you know what? Luciana has to really bring it here in episode 3. But I'm really digging this season, Kevin. I really like the personalities. I like that, you don't have that hometown bias where the Americans are giving them a little bit of extra credit here because Padma, Tom, and Gail are hailing from Top Chef America. Dawn goes home pretty early and goes to Last Chance Kitchen. We'll see what happens there and break it down next week. But we got some drama, we got some high quality dishes, and we had a wonderful co-host, or I guess a guest judge in Lorna. This is off to a strong start.
Yeah. Contestants I would be concerned about. Let's do our consideration. Victoire hasn't shown much. Amar has been disappointing. I thought he had the least appetizing looking Ritz cracker, by the way. Just goopy. Not a lot of technicality. And I'm an Amar guy. We go to Vaca every time we go down to South Coast. So I'm a huge fan of Amar's.
Yeah.
But he hasn't showed me much. Sylvia, again, I don't play the polls aren't rice people. Tough. This is global. You're on Top Chef World All Stars. Sorry. Rice is just kind of one of those global staples. And then other than that,
Tom's really impressive. I really like his dishes.
I think Tom's impressive. I think Dale's impressive. I really like my team. I think Nicole shows a lot, and I think she's really competent. Sarah's shown. It's just by the way, I would be a little concerned about Luciana. Her cassava was nothing to write home about. Didn't look like. I appreciate the cassava's placement in Brazilian culture. She didn't show a hell of a lot this week. And you could argue her finest moment in the show so far was the scallops aguachile with Gabri in the first quick fire, but not showing a hell of a lot yet. So I'd be a little concerned. But it's just, again, the median chef, yet she executed her fish perfectly, even in her bottom 3 dish, right? This is a really strong competition. And I'm looking forward to week 3. Closing thoughts, Tom.
I got to go to Africa. That's it.
It's a great, great food continent. It is just, it's like half the world. It's not even saying it's a continent. It's 7 different places. It's 20 different places. It's amazing. You should go. Get on Ethiopian Air, RDUIADADD, man. That is your routing. For Tom Haberstroh, this is Kevin Arnovitz. This is Pack Your Knives.